Hey everybody, it's Nate Carver, your favorite mortgage guy, and we are meeting with Sheri Sachs today. Again, second time, and we have conversations about FSBO, for sale by owner, and what she is doing in that space. Hey, I'm Nate Carver, and welcome to Between Two Doors. Hey Sherry, how are you doing?
I'm great, Nate. How are you today?
I'm good. So let's jump right into it. Tell me a little bit about your background,
Sure.
and we'll go from there.
Sure. I've been in service of people for my whole life, pretty much. Started in ministry and met real estate in 2010 and built a pretty strong book of business for the last 15 plus years. And now I'm not completely shifting away from retail business, but I just know that there's another avenue of helping people achieve what they need to achieve.
That's right. And what's the website that a homeowner that has to go FSBO um, to sell their home? What's the website that you would send them to?
Yeah, so we have a course available and it is at the Home Selling Playbook, thehomesellingplaybook.com.
All right,
Yep.
excellent.
And yeah,
I'll link that to it. I'll put the
thank
link in
you.
the bio description down below.
Thank you.
All right. So you've found a niche or a place where in the real estate world and serving people that you can really help where they may not have any help at all.
Yes.
Uh, tell me right off, what do you think the biggest misconception is about going about an FSBO for sellers?
Yeah, misconception for sellers is that it's free to sell. It will never be free to sell, but it can be less. You can save some of your equity. I think that the misconception for buyers is that this is going to be cheap, or that this house is going to that it has problems, or that the owner's going to carry the financing. Those are all misconceptions within the buyer seller range. And the misconception from agents is that this person is anti-agent. I think the need, some might be, I think, there's always going to be that side. I had a lady tell me one time, I'm going to sell it for sale by owner because I'm an adult and I can. And I was like, well, okay, that's awesome. You are an adult and you can. But I think most are not anti-agent. They are in a need position and they can't afford it. So there's quite a few things I think that play into why people don't just embrace it with open arms.
What do you think is like maybe the number one reason homeowners are drawn to going the FSBO route?
Right now, I think it's because so many people bought at the peak of the market. And with interest rates being up, there's not enough buyers to be sustaining that price. And so sellers are finding themselves having bought high and now they have to sell lower and they're already upside down. And if you are in a position of having to move for any sort of reason, you're getting a divorce, your job is transferring you, you're downsizing because you just have to, whatever. If you bought at an earlier time and there's not enough buyers to sustain the price that you have to get, then cutting out the agent commission is probably what has to happen. And that's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate for all parties. However, if you are finding yourself in that place,
Mhm.
then there's not a place to go and get help for it. There's not, unless you want to take full on real estate courses, there's not a place where you can just pull up some documents and get assistance until now.
So, what would things a homeowner needs to think through being your realtor and you put together an avenue for FSBO for a homeowner, what are the things that they have to consider? Because neither are free.
Right.
And so there are costs no matter what direction you go in selling a home title, for example, there's
That's right.
cost. So
That's right.
some of the pros and cons there. Uh, can you talk a little bit about those?
Sure, sure. So, the pros and cons are yes, you can do it yourself. Yes, there has not been support for that. There is now. As an agent, I did not create this course with a hook at the end that you really might need an agent. I really do go through everything that you can and should do. But I think one of the things that sellers have to focus on is that because you're not using an agent, you don't automatically have a perceived knowledge. Now, I'm not saying every agent out there is the best. I'm not saying they're the worst. There are agents out there that are just as new at it as you, as the seller. They went to some school and they have yet to sell their first house also. And here you are finding yourself in that position. But but you don't, as a seller, you don't automatically have perceived trust. And it's super important that if you're going to represent yourself, that you come at it as professional as you possibly can. So in my course, I do go over your staging, being ready for photos, everything about it still has to be top notch as if you were working with an agent. You're just going to lead that yourself.
Mhm. Do you see buyers in the FSBOs? Are they typically cash buyers, crypto, looking for financing?
It's a good
Is
question.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. What I find is that the buyer that will look at a for sale by owner automatically thinks there's some deal to be had,
Mhm.
that this seller is desperate. And so that's something else that I address in the course is that because you don't want your buyer coming at you like, you know, they're going to pay cash and get this stellar deal on it. You want them coming to you with a loan. You want them pre-qualified with Nate. You want them ready. That as the seller, you have to take control of even the buyer early on to and your professionalism matters. The way you present your home, looking its best, then that first conversation with your potential buyer has to sound and act just like your agent would. If a buyer contacts me from a sign for a retail sale, my first question is, are you already working with an agent and have you been pre-qualified? Right? But that's me as an agent representing my seller. You're the seller now. These are questions that you have to know to ask right away.
Mhm. Do you see FSBO homeowners um, switching gears in that timeline to a realtor, or do you see him coming from a realtor?
It's both. However, most people that will list for sale by owner, I hear things like, well, I thought I'd try it first. I
Hmm.
thought I'd see if it would work. That is not the way to start any business opportunity. I just thought I'd throw some money at it and see if it would work out, right?
Yeah.
That's never the way to set yourself up for success, and this is no different. You literally are opening your own lemonade stand right here. And if you're not going to then have lemonade, if you're not then going to have cups, if you're not going to provide ice, this is not something you should just try.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is kind of what happens. People stop at Home Depot and they stick up some trashy sign, and then they maybe throw it at Zillow on the for sale by owner side, and then they get a million calls from agents and no showings. And in their mind, what they say is, "Well, this isn't working," and now we have to go with an agent anyway.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that's backward, right? Is that if you're going to set up your lemonade stand, you want the brightest, best sign. You want little signs leading up so that the cars coming down the street know to get their change out and buy some lemonade. And and you want your best foot forward. And when they get there, you have a cup and you have some ice and you sell them something. And you don't just set some lemons on the sidewalk and go, well, we'll see if someone stops and asks if we make lemonade. This is not the way you do that, right? And it's not the way you sell your own home. And there is the right way. And yes, after about 30 days, if they haven't sold, they find an agent.
Gotcha.
And you don't have to. They don't have to, but they started wrong. So now they do have to.
So if I were doing an FSBO of my home, I tell you, I'm very biased. I've got a lot of great memories here. I
Yeah.
know my memories don't translate into dollar value.
Yes.
So one question would be, how does a homeowner handle coming up with a price evaluation of their home to list
That's
that they're
right.
going to?
That's right. Yes, your memories don't matter. And I tell clients that as a listing agent is that you are moving now. And
Mhm.
so all of these things that have made this a home, we do need to eliminate that. And
Yeah,
people need to walk into your home imagining their things, not your things. It doesn't change for sale by owner. And just as I said, you even have to be better at it than Nate has to be because he's going to have an agent. And that agent is going to cover some sins by saying, "Oh, forgive that he's a tournament fisherman and he's got this wacky fish hanging on the wall. Just ignore that. Try to imagine your things." You don't get to do that if you're for sale by owner. It has to be packed away. And
yeah,
so, yeah, so that process of finding now the price, the numbers don't lie. You,
right.
as a for sale by owner, don't get to price in how tall your children got in the pantry doorway. You don't get to price in your memories. The numbers don't lie. So yes, even in a state where we're non-disclosure and every sale is not disclosed, you can get pretty close between what you see on Zillow and what you see on Redfin and what the tax, has assessed properties at. You can get close because you are saving the commission, there is absolutely no reason to be overpriced.
Hmm.
Absolutely no reason. And it should be easier for you to sell because you should be able to shave off at least 3% of your own agent if you're not. And then if you're going to offer a buyer agent commission of 2%, let's say, you should be well under what other people are listed at by about 2 or 3% at least.
How does how about negotiating? So as a homeowner, I don't have someone with negotiating skill sets. That's on me.
Right.
And I could be across the table looking at an offer from a savvy realtor
Yeah, right.
or a snake in,
Yeah. Or
an
not
invest,
savvy.
maybe that's too harsh. Maybe an investor is looking to score a heck of a deal,
That's right.
and really lowballing it. I mean, either could happen. So
That's right.
what was, how about, yeah, talk to me about the negotiations.
Yeah. So the first thing, just as we talked about pricing, is that you should have a pretty solid grasp of not just what you owe and what you want, right? Because those two don't really matter how much you owe on your home and then what you want for it. Those don't matter. The numbers tell the story. So you have to be pretty confident that if you were going to take a convenience option from an investor, open door, any iBuyer type thing, that if you wanted the convenience option that they are no listings, no showings, and no repairs, fine, you also price that in, right? So now okay, even if an iBuyer comes to me, even if an investor comes to me, the minimum is this. That's still a good deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Then what is a good retail price? Now, when you're sitting across from someone, and my dad always said, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. It is better to make a deal with the bird you have in your hand than to
Right.
throw it out and go, well, two will come back. Two don't come back always. And now you're lowering the price and lowering the price and now listing with an agent or whatever. So when you have a customer, a buyer before you,
Hmm.
neither it has to be a deal that you could both live with. And you are the one trying to sell. So be the one that is giving, really.
Right.
And so, and I say that as a retail agent, that you're the one that wants to sell. This is your opportunity to be moving on. We're going to be as reasonable as possible, but you have to be the one that's giving.
All right. On the buyer's side, from the buyer's perspective, what's different about purchasing from an FSBO seller?
Yeah, I think that some buyers, maybe a majority of buyers, worry that the reason they're selling for sale by owner is that they haven't taken care of some things. Is that they don't want to work with a professional because they're hiding something,
Hmm.
or they're in such a tight spot and they have to take a quick deal, they'll take a piece of chicken for it. So I think buyers have a wrong thinking in that this isn't just a professional transaction. They think there's some underlying procuring event going on. And that's not always the case. It certainly is at some times. But sometimes you just have people that say, I went to the car dealership and bought my own car. When I wanted to sell it, I sold my own car. I bought my house, I can sell my house.
Hmm.
That they don't see this commodity any different than any other commodity, and buyers shouldn't probably see it that way either. You are, as a buyer, still going to negotiate. You're going to use a title company. You're going to get an inspection. Your lender is going to order an appraisal. You're going to have all the same things happen in the transaction. There just might not be agents on each side. And that's okay if you can both be reasonable together.
Right. Okay. How about are there opportunities for realtors to partner with an FSBO seller?
I think there absolutely is. And right now, with the NAR decision last year,
Mhm.
this whole commission thing is so upside down and everybody's confused. And so on one hand, sellers are like, oh, I just sell it myself and save all the commission, or I can just cut out the buyer's agent and make them pay. There's so many things going on
Mhm.
that with people looking around going, well, I think maybe selling myself would be reasonable. Then that's your opportunity as an agent to negotiate your position, to say, I could put you could be a flat fee. I can put you on the MLS for this much. And if you don't get it sold, then your commitment to me is that I would list it and we would make these adjustments. But what I find is that instead of agents coming to a for sale by owner and saying, what you're doing is brave, you're awesome, you're obviously a smart business person, whatever, whatever. And
Mhm.
then do the compliment sandwich. Here's your risks. Here's a reward that you're going to miss out on, whatever. They belittle the process. They come to the for sale by owner and say, well, you're never going to sell it. You're leaving money on the table. Well, are they really? Even if they price it lower, all they did was cut you out.
Yeah.
So agents take that personal and they kind of attack the for sale by owner seller instead of saying, you might want an option in the future and I'd like to be the one to give it to you. And to start that conversation, I could do this for you right now. I could run a
Right.
CMA for free. I could put you on the MLS for a flat fee. I can I can introduce you to my title people. You could be of service and earn that business instead of being venomous and push it away. That's up to you.
Right. All right. So tell me, we're going to switch gears here to some tools and solutions because this is where you are excelling. And tell me a little bit about the home story selling playbook.
Yeah. So the Home Selling Playbook is a six-part course. It's six videos and downloadable checklists. And each video walks through a different aspect of the process. So you start with just getting your home ready, being ready for photos, who takes those photos, putting the sign in the yard, getting the yard ready. I mean, it's six videos all the way across the line, from being ready to the closing table. And the last video is it's time for your buyer's final walkthrough, and all the way down to where to leave the keys for them, and
Mhm.
any books that belong to the home, warranties and stuff like that. So I really go through the entire process from start to finish. And then I have a private group on Facebook so that people can engage there. If they're having trouble, if they have a question, if they've run across something, they can come in, put it in the private group and ask their question, and I will personally answer those questions. So it's not really a coaching program, although I do have a consultant aspect of it.
I like it. Tell me if a homeowner is considering going FSBO,
Yes.
what would be the number one piece of advice that you would give them to start?
Do it better. Do you have to create a perceived value that you don't automatically have by using an agent. So you want to look around the realtor landscape and see how have agents listed and then be better than that. And it doesn't take you any more time. It's not harder. But it's necessary because you are really you're fighting an uphill battle of almost 100 years of real estate agents, and so don't come at it as unless you want the lowball offer, unless you want that attention. But if you're really wanting your price in for what you have, then come at it better than anyone else.
Excellent
You can do
advice.
it.
And you've got tools to help homeowners do this.
Yes, sir.
Tell us again. You've got give us the website, and then let's talk about Facebook, how they can find you on Facebook too.
Sure. The homesellingplaybook.com
Okay.
is my store. It's and you buy the kit, and then you have access to all those videos as long as you need them. And you can go back and forth and listen to things again and this and that. And then on Facebook, it's Sheri Sachs, and then the Home Selling Playbook is also on Facebook and
Okay.
Instagram, both.
Okay. We'll get the links
Yeah.
and put those. Tell me, are you limited? So a realtor typically they get their license, they're limited in a state. And they have their license and maybe practically limited to maybe a 60-mile radius. With
Yeah.
what you're doing in the FS in the for sale by owner space, are you national? Is it statewide?
Yeah, yeah. Anybody can buy our course and get in there and learn about selling your own home. Because I'm not representing you, you are not represented by me or my broker brand, which we don't talk about in this at this point. But yeah, this is not representation. If you decide you need representation, you would find an agent in your area. Zillow has a pretty good program for that. If you needed an agent, they have premier agents that they have vetted, and they also give some courses to selling agents. So if you're looking for an agent in your area, you can pivot that direction to find someone, or maybe you know someone from your church or whatever, but you're not being represented by me. You're just learning how to do it yourself.
Gotcha. All
Yeah,
right. So there we have it, folks. FSBO, you can do
go.
it.
You can do
Um,
it.
East
Everybody
Coast,
should do
West
it.
Coast, North, South. Check out Sheri's website and have get yourself a clear plan put together if you're going to do the FSBO route. And Sheri, thank you for being a guest
Thank
again.
you. Yes.
Uh, Talking about the FSBO. I'm going to put all your links down below. And I hope a lot of people reach out to you that need to do the FSBO route to sell their home.
Thank you so much.